Our next speaker is Grace Quantock. Grace describes herself as a former sick chick, which I think is great terminology, and is now the founder of Healing Boxes, which is a community interest company. We're actually very lucky to have received a healing box ourselves, Claire and I, after we did TEDx Cardiff, a bit out of the blue. And it was very kind of Grace to do that. And so Grace is going to be speaking today on the topic of be your own adventure story. So ladies and gentlemen, Grace Quantock.
Do you remember those books where you had to choose where you wanted to go at the end of the chapter? Those choose your own adventure novels? Sure, they were badly plotted and printed on that awful pulp paper, but isn't it a compelling concept? The problem is, now we're grown up, and the adventure is actually our life, and we can't flick to the end and see if it really does all turn out okay. I'm here today to talk to you about transforming your challenges, about living well in full colour every beautiful day. And I expect at this point, probably about half of you have seen the wheelchair, and I'm thinking maybe this is a talk about me bravely overcoming disability. Well, let's get out the way, shall we? Yes, I have illnesses, plural. Want to know which ones? Well, grab a pencil, because here they are. And they're impressive, I know. I've been collecting them for some time. But if you can read, pronounce, and understand all of those in the 15 seconds before the slide is up, then, my darlings, you will win a speedboat. Yes, you will. But this is not a miracle cure talk, and you won't weep at the happy ending. I am still sick, but I have learned to relegate my disabilities to the footnotes, and I'm here to teach you how to transform your challenges. I never planned this. Who does? Before I knew I was ill, I was living my life, haunting libraries, running around, climbing trees, and playing with my dogs. And then I wanted to be a librarian. I also wanted to be Hermione Granger, but that's another story. But then there was the diagnosis and the doctor, and in that moment I wanted to take her by her lapels and say, I'm sorry, there must be some mistake, because I had a plan for my life, and this wasn't in it. And I must admit, the diagnoses floored me for a while, both figuratively and literally. And even when I wanted to put down the book, my story just rushed on. I got to the end of the chapter, and I didn't like any of the options that were there, so I had to write my own. For a long time, the illnesses were the big theme in my life, and that's what all of our challenges do. They steal the spotlight and all the best lines. It even came up in how people spoke to me, because even as beautiful and well-dressed as I am, I don't know why you're laughing, strangers would look past these obvious talking points, and instead they would ask me, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with me? Well, I refuse to swear, and I have an over-enthusiastic love for vintage hats. But apart from that, I'm fabulous. Why? What's wrong with you? It took me a while to realize that even through the big challenges in my life, underneath, I was still me. I was still the main character in my big, bad adventure story of a life. And if I wanted it to be the case, I could relegate the disabilities to the footnotes. Sweetheart, they didn't even get a place in the index. But I know you have problems, and what I want you to do today is to relegate them down, because we all have fears, and they can be big and scary with big teeth and claws. Now, your challenge could be a failing business, a startup that won't start, debt, or a lackluster goldfish. I don't know. But what I do know is that although you can't control how the conflicts come into your life, you can control where you put the focus once they arrive. You can choose to focus on what makes you happy. What makes me happy? Sparkle. I really love glitter. So much so that when I was bedbound and too ill to move, I had my arms covered with body glitter. Because I couldn't wash, but darn it, I was going to shine. Now, did vanilla-scented silver glitter solve my problems? Of course it didn't. But I'll tell you what did. I got 3 things for you to take away today to relegate your challenges to the footnotes, and here they are. Number 1, admit the situation as it is. You can't change things until you know what you're facing. Number 2, overcome fear with gratitude. Write down 3 things every day that you're grateful for and watch your fears shrink. I'll give you your 3 today. Number 1, you're here. Number 2, you're listening to me talk. And number 3, you're at Ignite. Okay, your third action, see the benefits in the now. See the positives in your challenges. I have to use a wheelchair, but that means I can wear 6-inch stilettos, because when you can't walk, it doesn't matter how high the heels are. Thank you. So, I want you to if you take away one thing today, remember this. The challenges you face are just the footnotes. You are the adventure story. Don't be defined by what constricts you. I moved from sick chick to trailblazer, and I created adventure in my own life. You can be the protagonist in your story, because after all, who better to write your happy ending? Thank you.